Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice for radio, so today I am showing you a very exciting new Porygon Z promo. Or maybe Porygon Z if you're in the US, but we're not. At least I'm not. Porygon Z, ladies and gentlemen, it is another promo card that you are going to get in Japan if you buy a booster box of the set, like the Lucario we looked at just a couple of days ago. The question is it any good? And the answer is maybe. Now, to start off with, he's a colourless Pokemon, which means he's hitting nobody for weakness. 130 HP used to be fairly standard with cards like Greninja and Garchomp, but now with cards like Dragonite, 130 for Stage 2, it's starting to look a little bit on the low side. And weakness to fighting could be a bit of a pain if cards like Lycanroc get as popular as they could. The attack is bad. And there's no way around this, it's a very bad attack. I know you can use double colourless energy, but 80 for free energy is not particularly good. 80 for free energy on a stage 2 really isn't very good, and 80 for free energy on a stage 2 with a caveat that you're not allowed to use that attack the following turn, and that he has no other attacks, is just plain, utterly, terribly, garbagely bad. It is a bad attack, ladies and gentlemen. And I could mention about using Pokemon Ranger to get rid of this requirement, like we do for Lapras and Volcanion, but it's such a bad attack, I don't think I'm even going to bother. But the reason we're talking about Porygon Z, and the reason he gets his own video, is very simple. His ability is very, very interesting indeed. Reformat. When you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may devolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon and put the highest evolution card into your opponent's hand. Now obviously if you were to use something like Wally to evolve your Pokemon, it would not work, but as long as you're evolving it regularly using rare candy, etc., you're absolutely fine. And if this sounds familiar, then it should, because it's the same ability as Espeon EX's attack. Now of course if all you do is just evolve their Pokemon, then the very next turn they can evolve up again and you've not really done anything. But there's two ways this could be really fun. Number one, if they're cheating evolution using something like rare candy, they put the basic down, rare candy into a stage 2, you get rid of the stage 2, and they can only evolve again if they've got the requisite rare candy. Now I don't believe this would count for something like Frogadier using water duplicates, because it's not technically an evolved Pokemon in the same way that a Pokemon you put down with Archies or Maxies would not be an evolved Pokemon unless you further evolved it later on. But you can use this to get KOs, and that's the main use here. We saw that this has seen a little bit of play with Espeon EX in Decidueye decks, and the theory is very simple. You spread a whole bunch of damage round with Decidueye, get your opponent to enough damage to KO the pre-evolution, then you devolve them all and take multiple KOs at once. The difference here is that you can do this using an ability, and then you can attack afterwards, so it's not a basic for a single energy, it's a stage 2 you've got to evolve into, so it's a bit clunkier to get going. But it's more convenient in terms of how you get it going as an ability rather than as an attack. And we've got some good ways to spread damage around. We've got the aforementioned Decidueye GX. We've got the upcoming Tapu Koko, who for a double colourless does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. I mentioned him a few times lately, and he's got some really fun uses. And then of course you've got Necrozma GX, the GX Pokemon I mentioned just a few days ago, who has a GX attack for free energy that does 100 damage to every one of your opponent's EXs and GXs. Sounds like fun. Although as a side note with Necrozma, when you devolve GXs, you'll be devolving them into non-GXs. So if you take Decidueye for instance, then you would have to attack with Necrozma, because if you devolve them before you attacked, they wouldn't be GXs, they wouldn't take the damage. Then you can devolve them the next turn with Porygon, and they've all got 100 damage on. You get rid of the Decidueye, they go down to 80 HP Dartrixes, and they all get KO'd. Now, you don't take the 2 prizes from Decidueye, and you have to wait until the turn after you attack to devolve, but still, you get free prizes, you get rid of all the decidui. You could do this with Tapu Koko, just spread round for a few turns, then you can devolve down using Porygon Z, and then do one more attack to put them all up to 80 and get the KO. It could be a lot of fun. The problem is, all the intangibles are pretty bad, it's just got a really good attack. And we've got history of really good Stage 2 Pokemon with really good abilities that don't see any play because Stage 2s are just a little bit too clunky. If they're grass Pokemon, we've got Forest of Giant Plants, but this is not a grass Pokemon. It does evolve from Porygon, and I do love Porygon. It is a Pokemon I love so much, I literally have a frame with many Porygons on my wall in my house. Favourite Gen 1 Pokemon. He's my boy. And I would love to put Porygon into a deck. But it's a clunky Stage 2 that you're using for a one-time ability. I just don't know how much play it's going to see. There's definitely potential here. This is an ability that can win the game. But are you really going to be playing a Porygon and a Porygon 2 in a deck that's playing Rare Candy anyway, just to try and get this ability off once? And if your opponent sees it coming, they can just Lysander and KO the Porygon anyway, assuming Lysander's legal when Burning Shadows comes out, which it might not be. I'm going to be forced to give Porygon between 2 and 3 Wassies. I want to give it more. I love me some Porygon action, ladies and gentlemen. But it's a Stage 2 that's just being used as a tech, and it's a little bit clunky. Now you know the deal, there is a comment section, go nuts, be nice. There are buttons to both like this video and subscribe to this channel, you should use them both. You can follow me on Twitter @TheWassie, and you should be, and the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching, my name is Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.